Welcome friends! Today I want to introduce you into Hardhat, but only in a small part of Hardhat. I want to highlight how important testing is for smart contract development. So Hardhat is a development environment for professionals, as they say very clearly on their top page here. They are providing a tool set for you to develop smart contracts, so a whole project framework basically, with everything set up. We've set up Solidity compiler and also a node implementation there for spawning local blockchains for development, and also testing environment, of course. That's what I want to highlight here. You can reach out, or you can head over to Hardhat and read all the documentation here. I won't do it now. I want to show you how you can make use of it. So when you install Hardhat globally, it's documented how you do it. Then you can start a new project with npm execute, which npx Hardhat, and start a new project. I hit now the pause button because this takes some time. I have a slow internet connection, as it looks like. So this took quite some time. I don't know. I have 250 megabit connection, but maybe a lot of people are streaming some services, some videos at the moment. Anyways, when this is finished, you can choose whether you want to create an basic sample project, for example. We do this, and it asks for the project root. I'm already in the correct folder. It asks us to add a git ignore. We don't need this. It wants to install some dependencies. I say okay. I will hit the pause button again to not bother you with waiting for the stuff to be finished. After this is done, it says project created. Nice, that's what we are looking for. So when you now open this in your IDE of choice, I have here this newly created Trust project, of course, and it set up a few things already. So there's a Hardhat configuration file and a few folders for the contracts. There is also an example contract here, a greeter, which does basically the following. It takes over an greeting with the constructor. You can get this greeting and you can set this greeting. And there's also a test for this, sample test. Hardhat makes use of Chai and so the Chai testing framework, and it's basically working the following. So you have describe blocks where you describe a group of functionalities, and then you have it functions that are testing some stuff. So for example here, this function should return the new greeting once it is changed. It's testing for getting, so basically the first steps are deploying this contract. These are these 3 lines here. So you are getting this instance or the source code of this instance, or not the instance, you get the source code, you deploy one instance then with the greeting hello world, waiting for the contract to be deployed. Then you expect the greeting to be hello world, because this is set here in the deploy along with the constructor. Then you change the greeting to hola mundo, I guess it is pronounced like this, Spanish. Then you wait for the transaction to be mined, and then you expect, of course, the greeting to be something different. And this is how tests are working generally in software development. You do something and then you expect that something is done. And this is how it works all the time. And of course, this is also very important for smart contract development. I would say it's the most important thing here to write. So last week I told you about making use of OpenZeppelin to make use of security tested and audited contracts. This is the very first thing. And the second thing is that you need to write tests for everything you do in smart contracts, because you want to really ensure that what you intended to be done is actually done, and that there are no side effects. You also have to test for corner cases, for edge cases, for negative stuff, for stuff that is left empty, so for user misbehaving things. And this is how it works. Writing tests for all those stuff and be then almost sure that the code works as expected. And for example, this demo project, you can now test your or run the tests, and this is done by npx hardhat test, and this runs all the tests that are written here in these files. I don't know, my machine is pretty slow, or okay. And you see now the tests are passing, so this one test is implemented. And for example, if you want to extend the functionality and write another function, let's say function remove greeting, and this is also public, and you want to have the greeting set to be an empty string, for example, and you add this functionality, then of course you had to add some test. So I would do it that way. I would copy this line and add another test. It should reset, I would say it should reset the greeting once it is resetted, of course. So no, how is this spelled? This, okay, this is so reset. Sorry, English is not my native language. And yeah, so basically you have to grab this again because you have to deploy a freshly instance of your contract. Of course, you can outsource this to an before each block where this is done before each test, but for simplicity, I do it that way. And at the first step, because you initialize the contract with this hello world, I would also expect the greet to be hello world, but then I basically I copy these two lines and slightly adopt it here. So I would call it then reset greeting tx, and it's called reset greeting, right? It doesn't take any arguments. I just have a look. Remove, okay? It's remove. Or no, let's rename it here to reset. And it's reset greeting. You wait for this new reset greeting transaction to be mined, and then you expect the new greeting to be basically an empty string. Okay, and then you execute the tests again, and hopefully they run through. Okay, two tests are passing, and you see the new functionality we have now implemented is also working the way we expected it to be. And of course, the most important thing is that you also test here the positive things, so as we have done it now, but also test the negative things. So maybe you can also add some a restriction here that the greeting has to be at least 2 characters or something like that, and then you have a require statement here that is checking for the length, and you also have to test those corner cases. So for example, when then somebody provides only 1 character for a string for the new greeting, then this should be failing, and you also should expect then that the message is something specific, because you coded it here what the message for this failing transaction should then be, and of course you expect the transaction then to have that message. And this is how it basically works. So testing is very, very important. I say it once again because it's all about money at the end. You are deploying applications that are probably dealing with money in one or the other form. So either directly with Ether, for example, on Ethereum, or with NFTs that have some value, and you don't want to mess up things. So you really want to make sure that the contracts you are writing are very well tested. And this is how you do it. So I hope you enjoy this, and if you have some questions, fill the comments below, and I will be happy to answer those. Otherwise, stay tuned for more tips and tricks on Solidity, on Ethereum, on blockchain, on Web3, and yeah, we will see each other again. See you.